The jewelry business started about 20 years ago, right?
20 years ago in May of this year, just under 20 years at this point.
And then there is this VFX business, which we'll also touch base a little bit.
Vivid Effects is the name of the company. But basically, that was born in 2020.
J&M is currently doing about 50 million, is it?
Yeah, that's right.
So would you like to be an investor? If you have 50 million in your bank, you automatically become serial entrepreneur. From diamond to digital, you run both a traditional jewelry brand and a tech company, right? What's more dramatic?
So they said, hey, we've got this factory. We're doing this over in Ramat Gan, which is a suburb of Tel Aviv and very well known for diamond manufacturing and jewelry production. Because if you're talking about a 4 or 5 carat natural diamond, that's $100,000 diamond, and that is replaced with the lab, that could be a devastating loss. To answer your question, gold and silver are going up. And the reason I say they've abused it is because America is currently $37 trillion in debt. I don't really want US dollars right now.
People who want to start a business, what is your life lesson?
Do we need to take the consent first?
Yeah, we have to take the consent. Hey, so Cory, couple of things here, okay? We're going to have a very open discussion, and for that, there is a process that we follow, which is taking consent, live consent, that you won't feel offended with anything that goes around, because we are going to, we are going to make fun, we are going to, have friendly communication. Right, so just giving that consent that you're okay with that, and you won't mind, okay?
I'm fine, no problem.
I actually got this consent in the pre-recon call also, by the way. He is okay with that. So did you, I was asking, you were not able to have your beer? But
no, I didn't have my beer this morning because it's 8:30 in the morning here. If I start drinking at that point, it's going to be a long day, man.
Yeah, it's going to be an enjoyable day because you had a beer.
Right, so, that's right.
Yeah. Right. But hey, as long as you're... yeah.
I mean, like, before starting this podcast, I really want to say one thing, man. You look jacked, man. You look jacked.
Yeah,
man. Thank you. Yeah. I've just tried to exercise my whole life since I was young. Just tried to always participate in it and never stopped. And so at this point, it's kind of like brushing your teeth or tying your shoes. It's just part of everyday life.
Right.
Amazing, man. Wow.
So,
I mean, it's really
like, do you do it like? Have you tried any competitive sports ever, or no?
Yeah, when I was younger, I played pretty much everything we have here, in Texas. But as I got older, I just kind of lost interest in sports and got more interested in business and creative. Yeah,
we did a lot of research on that, by the way. So you the jewelry business started about 20 years ago, right?
20 years ago in May of this year. So just under 20 years at this point.
Oh, wow. Nice. And then there is this VFX business, which we'll also touch base a little bit. But for our audience, people who will be listening, would love if you can actually, give us a walkthrough of your business in your own words.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we started in 2005, there was this change in consumer behavior that was taking place, and a lot of that was evolving with the technology, and that was e-commerce and online shopping and educated customers becoming more aware of what they were buying. So we had an opportunity to bring a business model that was direct to consumer, but actually factory production type of product, direct to consumer. And so that was going on overseas. And I had a meeting that took place in Tel Aviv, Ramat Gan in 2005, had an opportunity to start the jewelry business. I didn't know anything about it. So we brought their business model here to the United States. And in a nutshell, what it is we manufacture and design high quality fine jewelry, but we sell direct to consumer, and we also do business to business. We do have online sales as well. So our whole model is higher quality product at more of a wholesale price.
Okay. So the prices are low, the quality is high. That is what separates you from your competitors. Nice.
Yeah. And I mean, you have to be hesitant to say that because I'm sure you guys know you have some knowledge with a lot of topics, I'm sure. But with jewelry, when you start talking about the lowest price jewelry or the cheapest jewelry, you get into trouble because oftentimes that's mass produced, lower quality goods, stuff that's commercial grade, commercial produced. We're not producing that kind of product. We're producing a very high quality, fine craftsmanship and fine quality item, but it's lower than what you would be paying in those higher end retail brands.
Okay. Okay. And how about your other company, which is around VFX, right? So would you like to give us a walkthrough of that as well so that we can start the discussion?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. So Vivid Effects is the name of the company. It plays off words, EFX. But basically that was born in 2020. So right as COVID was happening, we decided to start that business. And what we were doing is an incredible amount of media production for J&M. A lot of it was video, lifestyle, fashion week, photo shoot, green screen. We were just pumping out content really heavy at that point. And a lot of other businesses came to us and said, hey, how are you doing that so fast and on, you know, smaller budgets? And really what it was is we had the team that knew the software and knew the equipment and then understood the technology side of filming and other things. So we kind of started doing media content, but then gave birth to a lot more coding, a lot more web development. So now we're working on some really cool projects, but Vivid Effects does business with J&M Jewelry, but we also do business with other companies outside of the jewelry industry.
Okay. So we did see that. Would you like to touch base on the turnover also, because that might open some eyes? So you mentioned that in our research we found out that J&M is currently doing about 50 million. Is it?
Yeah, that's right.
So would you like to be an investor?
An investor in what? In the podcast?
No, not podcast, but in general, you know, be an investor, get listed on Quint. Let us find us, you know, some businesses for you and take our commissions.
Man, well, I will tell you this. I have always been open-minded to opportunities. And I think that that's kind of in my spirit as an entrepreneur. I think when we had our pre-phone call, I said that I was like a serial entrepreneur. And I've started some businesses that weren't successful, and then I have started some that are successful. And I think that's the beautiful part about it, right? You try it and some of them fail, some of them don't, and then you learn from the different ones. And so I'm always open to investment opportunities.
Yeah, if you have 50 million in your bank, you automatically become serial entrepreneur. $50 million, man. Like if you have that in your bank, hey, any business, I can invest in any business at that point, right? So that's amazing.
I mean, man, I got my eyes on a lot of things right now. I mean, aside from jewelry, there's just an interesting part of tech that inspires me, and that's, you know, 3D printing or, you know, decentralized finance or AI and all that.
How's that
Go ahead.
going?
Sorry.
How's that going? We did see that you provide digital marketing services as well. Like you've done that for, of course, J&M, right? So how has that journey been? Because, you know, from diamond to digital, you run both a traditional jewelry brand and a tech company, right? What's more dramatic, dealing with Bridezillas or probably debugging VR code?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a funny question because for us, they kind of cross over, especially now. And going back to what I said about consumer behavior changing, there's not the retail business model in America, especially retail jewelry, is on a decline. And so people are purchasing more digitally, online, on their phones, on their computers. And so we knew that that's where the trend was going. And so we automatically knew we needed to take what was an old model of in-presence retail store and apply that to digital, but present it well, right? And make it look real. So we're working on a lot of cool stuff, man. But you know, in both businesses, you've got customers that are, you know, require certain levels of customer service to keep those accounts happy. You know what I mean?
Would love to hear about the craziest bride that you have dealt with, you know, craziest bride.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh gosh, there's been a lot. And I say that respectfully, because at the end of the day, these people are customers, right? So I can't mention their names or specific.
Of course. I just want to hear the Karen moment.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that there's so many. I will generally categorize it as this. When the man comes in with his mother to purchase the engagement ring, man, that's a whole nother can of worms right there. So I've had lots of scenarios like that. And then we've had scenarios where, you know, we're doing a lot of AutoCAD custom designing. So people will look at the image online or look at a wax and they'll say, you know, can you move that 0.35 of 1 millimeter to the left? And all of this stuff that they don't realize you see on a computer, but how it translates to real life is almost
It's different.
Microsoft. Yeah.
Yeah. And she wants something very particular, right? Like,
Right.
hey, why is this design like this? Why it's like this diamond should be here or something like that? Have you ever had that kind of a moment, custom request like that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've had a lot of requests. I mean, from scratch, people drawing a design on a napkin and then handing it to us to something like
designing it on a napkin and giving it to you.
Yeah.
You were able to
completely
deliver that?
from scratch. Completely from scratch.
Wow. Oh my God. I can only imagine the kind of, I don't want to use the word pain, but oh my God, that's a pain. The pain in the
It's a
ass.
lot of details and a lot of patience. And honestly, it's kind of worked out because we're about 65% direct to consumer and about 35% business to business.
B2B, right.
A lot of what you're saying here is applying to the direct to consumer side of things.
Yeah.
Right? So the business to business is a little more relaxed and not so heavy on those, really mundane details.
Yeah. So what's the usual markup when you sell B2B? That I was just thinking, like,
It depends on what it is.
let's say it's a ring about $10,000, right? You like B2B, like you're selling him to, let's say, $10,000. What's the kind of markup that they keep?
So it's a very difficult question to answer generally because we're talking about so many variables. We're talking about what is the ring? Is the ring solid gold? Does it have diamonds? Does it have gemstones? We're providing other services B2B such as AutoCAD or 3D printing waxes and all that. So it depends on what service and what product you're talking about. But generally, if it's a finished piece of jewelry, B2B, if we clear between 5 to 10% on that transaction, that would be an acceptable margin for B2B, which is very low.
Okay. And for your digital side of things, are you doing any white labeling or are you all in-house? What's the...
Great question. So with J&M services, we provide one-on-one business consulting for other companies. And then we also provide private labeling or white labeling is sometimes those terms are used interchangeably. And what we do is we do the design, we do the prototype, we do the production run for the client, and then they resell that item underneath their own brand. And so that is a huge part of our business to business sales. And in fact, it's about 25% of our 35% B2B.
Okay. So Vivid EFX, that one, for that, do you have like in-house team or do you have like, do you work with other vendors to, sort of?
Yes, great question. I mean, we have both. I mean, I think you guys would recognize it's almost impossible to have everybody in-house, right? Even Google's of the world, right? They're using third parties and vendors.
Right.
So definitely we have both. I will tell you, one of the programs that we have really worked hard to develop is an internship program with the university that I went to. So that university is called Texas State, and it's in Central Texas, a city called San Marcos. It's a very cool school. In fact, we're getting a lot of international students to attend there. We have a program where we pull tech interns and marketing interns from that school, and we're using those are either undergraduate or graduate master's students that would come to our team, do our internship, and then look at opportunity for employment after that. So to answer your question, we get a lot of talent that way.
Oh, that's nice. So basically you teach them and then you also provide them employment.
You got it. We consider it kind of a community service that comes back to us, but also helps the future generations.
Yeah, I was going to use the word Robin Hood, but yeah, that sort of covers it. Yeah, so you're basically doing good whilst making sure that you get benefited in the process of it.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you started Vivid EFX like 2020, right?
Correct. So we're just over 5 years at this point.
Nice. Yash, what do you think? Right? Like I feel like for ALM. This
I mean, he's like the great, exactly. He can be the IC.
Yeah,
for
he can
ALM.
be. Yeah, I can actually, Cory, we can connect you with a US and Canada-based company that sort of provides white labeling digital marketing services, which you are already doing, right? So if you want to hire somebody, outsource some work, they are pretty good, like highly recommended from my side. I am a growth engineer there. I provide growth engineering consultancy to their clients, and I've seen it firsthand, the kind of results these guys provide, and your clients will be very happy. So you might be able to. I'd love to introduce you guys.
Absolutely, I'd love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for offering that.
Yeah. So guys, any questions?
I mean, I'm kind of like interested, like how the jewelry business started. Like, why did you think about jewelry and how did it start? So, like, I'm kind of like interested in that.
Yeah, no,
Good story.
it's an interesting story for sure, and not something that is common in America. I know in other countries, jewelry as work is a lot more common than it is in America. So I had another business that I was doing, health and fitness and wellness consulting. What we would do is we would come into corporations or community centers, and we would provide a service that was operations to that entire fitness facility. And that was everything from like personal training, nutritional services, down to like janitorial, if that's what they needed. So when I went to Israel in the summer of 2025, I was going on vacation with my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife of over 17 years. But we went over there and I was doing my thing, and she said, hey, we're going to go to dinner with my cousins. And I said, okay, great. So we go to dinner and I meet her cousins, who happen to be younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a really good interaction with them. They liked me. I liked them. They were just good people. So they said, hey, we've got this factory. We're doing this over in Ramat Gan, which is a suburb of Tel Aviv and very well known for diamond manufacturing and jewelry production. So we went over there the next day, and I talked to them further and started talking to them. And they said, hey, we want to take this business model and bring it to America. And are you interested in doing that? And I told him, yeah. So the funny thing is, man, is I had dated my wife about 3.5, 4 years up until that time before we went to Israel. I knew nothing about her family over in Israel in jewelry, didn't have a clue. So it really came out of what was supposed to be a vacation, and then presented as an opportunity. And then here we are 20 years later from that opportunity.
Oh, that's
Amazing.
Best vacation ever.
vacation ever. Very true.
It was a lot of flying, man. I did a lot of flying up front. Was over there all the time. There was a lot of late nights, a lot of headache. As you can imagine, jewelry, especially diamonds and stuff, is very expensive. So me coming from something not that, it took a challenge to get used to it. Oh, you're touching this item. It's very valuable. Don't break something. Don't sneeze wrong. Don't cough. Right. It was a challenge, because health and fitness and jewelry is pretty much, the opposites, right?
Yeah, very true. Very true. What has been the biggest loss that you've incurred because of a customer?
Oh man, you want a number? Is that what you want?
Oh yeah. Numbers are always good.
Yeah, I would say
We have a finance guy here.
The biggest loss that we've incurred has been somewhere in the neighborhood of like 20 to 30,000, somewhere in that range.
Oh God.
So not, I mean, I say 20 or 30,000, a lot of money, but in reality, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. It's a lot of money at one time. Don't get me wrong, but absorbing that over the course of a year, or nobody wants to lose anything, right? Nobody wants to lose anything.
Cory, I just want to say it. After some time, if you have a couple of grants coming, sitting around, you don't want them, you can always give it to me. 30,000, I'll be very happy. I'll be very happy. Think of it like a loss.
Yeah, right. We'll write it off on the accounting. I mean, look, I think you've talked to a lot of
$20,000 is a lot of money, or is it just me, guys?
No, it's a lot of money. But let me say this: you probably have talked to people who act like they've never done anything wrong. They've never made any losses. Everything was perfect, and the whole
never happens.
It's not true. So you learn from your mistakes,
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I guess you have talked to the people who does not have $50 million.
Yeah.
Right. So
$50 million
if you have $50 million, $30,000 is not that big of a deal.
Not that.
You can buy Kohinoor out of $50,000, man.
Yeah.
experience.
Right.
So like, are you guys into like just like natural diamonds or lab grown diamonds as well? What do you
So
guys?
it's a great question. There's a lot happening in the lab diamond space. I'm sure you know about it. We don't market or create marketing campaigns specifically targeting customers for lab diamonds. However, when we do have customers who request it, then we sell it to them. But our whole business model and the majority of our customers have always, wanted and requested natural, genuine. We have seen some shift to lab, and there's a whole podcast we can do just on that itself.
Yeah.
But overall, most of our customers are wanting natural. So we still give them what they want, but we do have the occasional customers that want lab.
So like, what's your opinion about lab diamonds and like natural diamonds?
So
Personal
I
opinion.
think,
Personal opinion.
Yeah,
yeah. So no, I appreciate you asking me, because I'll kind of sum it up, man. Because like I said, there's a lot of details that make up my personal decision here. You can look at it from a lot of perspectives: basic economics, supply and demand, limited supply versus unlimited supply. You can break it down that way if you want to, or you can break it down the historical way of looking at monarchies and royal families hoarding diamonds, right? Or you can look at it of the physical, tangible commodity side of it, right? So there's a lot of ways that you can look at this conversation. At the end of the day, the issues that I have with lab diamonds is that the marketing in America is made to be deceptive, and it's made to confuse the consumer that they think they're buying the same thing, when in reality, it's not the same thing. If it was the same thing, the price would be the same, right? So you can say, well, you put it under the microscope and the molecular structure of the carbon lattice is the same under 1000x magnification. All that's nonsense, because if the price was the same, it would be the same. The price isn't the same, right? So my personal opinion is that it's hurting the jewelry industry as a whole, not because it's there, but because of the way it's being presented. And it's being presented that it's the same thing, and it's not the same thing. So that's my opinion about it. But I think it does have some pros. If you look at the industrial side of diamonds, such as the heat conductivity and the saw blades and the drill bits and the electrical components, lab diamond is a perfect substitution for that use.
Interesting. So is there any way to distinguish between real diamond and lab grown diamond just by looking at it?
I was about to ask the same thing, man.
Yeah. Me too.
By natural eye, no. By natural eye, no. Now, there's some people that will tell you they can spot it. They're lying. By natural eye, they cannot see the difference between natural and lab. Now, you can see the difference between quality. So let's say the natural diamond was a poor quality and the lab diamond was a higher quality. You would certainly be able to see the difference there. But if it's even playing field, same quality lab, same quality natural, you wouldn't be able to see the difference with your eye. There is proper testing and machines. We have a machine that we use, and we screen everything, but you can't tell with your naked eye. And so that's what makes the business a little bit more, fine tooth. You really need to go through these details with a fine comb, because if you're talking about a 4 or 5 carat natural diamond, that's $100,000 diamond, and that is replaced with the lab, that could be a devastating loss. And so that can't happen, right?
Right. Hey, I've been thinking about this. So I feel like there is a huge market when it comes to precious metals, right? It's a growing market. I feel like, especially since Trump came, right? I feel like gold is going to, go up in terms of prices. I feel like silver can go up. What do you think? Where should I invest? I have some money lying around. So where do you think I should invest? Since I have you here.
You're speaking to the right person with that question, man. And
that is exactly right. Yeah.
I tell you that because I am a research fanatic, and I don't do anything or say anything without having a very good understanding and a lot of research behind that thing that I'm doing or saying, right? So when it comes to precious metals, we're involved with them on a daily basis, obviously, for jewelry. In the past 5 or 6 years, we've had a lot of clients requesting bullion. They want physical bars of gold or physical coins or bars of silver. Mostly it's gold and silver, not so much platinum or palladium. But to answer your question, back in, I think it was 2019, the Bank of International Settlements, under a Basel III guideline, reclassified gold as a tier 3 to a tier one asset. Now, this took place prior to COVID, and you can research this and look it up. So the only other tier one assets is United States dollar, United States Treasury bond, and gold. Forever, that was only US dollar and Treasury bonds, but it was reclassified. That's a huge deal, because what that means is that the international banking standards that all the central banks in the world are using, specifically the Federal Reserve here in America, is going off these Basel III guidelines that now allows for an accounting record to show gold as a tier one with 100% liquidity instead of a tier three at 50% liquidity. So there's a lot more details that goes into it than that. I'm sure you guys know and have your own knowledge and opinion, but
no,
to answer your
we
question,
don't.
To answer your question, gold and silver are going up.
Yeah.
Now, I don't believe we're going to wake up one day and gold's going to be at $10,000. I don't think it's going to happen like a switch, but I think it's going to be a gradual stair step. And the trend, the graphs, all the charts are trending up. So yeah, I think gold and silver are a great play. The only thing I would say is don't get caught up in the high premium items like collectibles or certain minted items that contain a large premium because they're collectible or they're this or that. At the end of the day, when it comes to precious metals, it's how much do you have on the scale and what metal is it? And that's it. And in certain circumstances, yes, you could have a collectible or a numismatic coin that has a premium because it is what it is. But generally speaking, investing in the lowest price for the maximum weight for gold or silver is what's going to be your best way to play that card.
Okay. But if I had to choose between gold and silver, which one would you recommend to me for most
Man,
returns?
it's a hard one.
Yeah.
Have you seen all the reports about how the country of India has guaranteed a certain amount of silver purchases for 2025? Have you seen that data?
Oh, I did. Thank you for letting me know. India is doing something like that?
Oh yeah, big time. So let me just give you generics here. So out of, let's say, all the silver that's minted and available on the COMEX or the LBMA, which is the London Bullion Market Association, the COMEX and the LBMA play both a vital role in distributing physical metals to people around the world. So all of that silver that's produced in a year, India, I believe it's like 33 or 35%. Don't quote me on that amount, but it's a huge amount, has already guaranteed buy of all of that production of silver for 2025. So, and that's just one country buying a third of what's available in production in 2025. So going back to your question, silver or gold, gold is king. And it always has been, but you've also got a really large run percentage-wise for silver, because if silver moves to $80 or $100, which is not out of the question at all, you're talking about, a 500% increase.
Exactly.
Crazy, yeah. So silver seems to be the way to go for sure. If I want to make some money. Cool.
If you're making one choice, I would say silver. If you want to make two choices, I would allocate to both. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Weirdly enough, Harmeet is stuck. Is this just me or is he just smiling on the screen right now?
He is.
He is. What's wrong with
he is stuck.
I don't know what's
bro,
wrong.
that
with
is creepy. Your smile is creepy, bro.
Can you guys?
Yeah, you might want to just.
I'm restarting the internet.
Yeah. Not the internet, bro. Just reload the screen. It's fine. Yeah. Oh,
I thought you were just intrigued with what I was saying, man. I didn't realize you were stuck like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I thought that he's so happy.
And I'm stuck as well.
Yeah. God. I was like, why is he smiling like that constantly? What is he looking at right now, man? Why is he looking at something, man? God, yeah. That is creepy, bro. That is just creepy. Just reload, please. Reload.
I just did that. It's not working.
Yeah. You reloaded your browser?
Yeah.
Just exit the call and join back in. Okay, then.
Okay.
Got
I was
it.
like the finance guy getting some information about the
Yeah,
stocks and market.
I genuinely thought because of he's a
Please don't have
finance
about
guy,
it.
he's like relating with Cory like crazy. That is why he's like
Yeah.
smiling all the time. And I'm like, no, that is
At
not
one
normal.
point, I was like, no, something's wrong. Something's wrong.
Something is wrong, man. He's not. Yeah, that's
Is it
his.
fine?
Yeah, that's your
Yeah.
stupid face, bro. It's
Oh,
it's looking good now.
have you guys
Alright.
taken a screenshot of that?
Yeah,
you can.
I should have. Good thing we are recording this call. So,
We're recording. Don't worry.
Oh yeah,
Right.
it's in recording. Yeah. I'll
So
check that now.
Harmeet, based on all the information that Cory shared, what do you think? Do you want
I,
to probably invest my money somewhere else or what?
no. I would also say silver, either equities or silver, but my preference is equities. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, on the basis of, on account of how much return you can earn from equities, I think any day it's going to be better than any metal, because
Mm-hmm.
metal are reliable, but they doesn't ensure high returns,
Mm-hmm.
and equity ensures high return, although they are not safe. But
Yeah, I would
uh,
go with the metal, bro. I want something in my hand. I don't want. I don't want to go with something that I cannot.
What,
Like, if it's
so what's
there
your opinion?
digitally, I don't believe it. I want something in my hand. I want to hold, and I want to feel rich while holding it. I want to feel
So,
that.
like,
Hey, this is $10,000 worth. I want to feel that.
yeah. So, like, what's your opinion about that, Corey? Because I had the same doubt because I'm getting married next month. And so basically, my in laws gave me a lot of gold. And I was like, instead of giving me gold, why don't you just give me bonds out of it? I feel like that would be a viable option instead of like having a metal in my hand. Because what would I do with that? Because my wife does not wear gold anyways. So, like, what's your opinion about that?
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. And look, we can get into a geopolitical part of the conversation. And what I mean by that is the United States has the world's reserve currency. And as an American, it doesn't make me feel good to tell you that the United States has been acting irresponsibly with that authority, and they've been abusing that authority for a long time. So as we look at that, when you're talking about equities or you're talking about bonds or treasuries, I assume you're talking about US,
Mm-hmm.
right? US based.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this would be all backed by the US dollar, the Federal Reserve, and the US Treasury,
Mm-hmm.
the FDIC, which other organizations that you want to pull in to say, well, my money is backed up and guaranteed by these specific groups. I don't know how much information is coming to you in India about the topics that I'm going to give you here, but
Mm-hmm.
there is a shift happening in the global financial system, and other players, including BRICS nations and other alliances that are being created, are putting a lot of pressure on the US dollar and that position that I believe they've abused for so long. And the reason I say they've abused it is because America is currently $37 trillion in debt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, with all that being said, me personally, knowing what I know and knowing where I think this is headed, I don't really want US dollars right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal opinion. I would rather have other assets like
Precious
gold,
metals.
silver,
Yeah.
or land, or businesses.
Mhm.
It's not just about gold and silver, right? There are other options, but that's just me. That's my personal opinion.
Mhm.
But I look at it a little bit differently. I think, to be honest with you, we're shifting into a tokenized system, which everything will be decentralized finance, tokenized on a blockchain ledger. And this is already happening when you look at Ripple and you look at XRP and what banking institutions in America are already using that type of tech. So I think this is where this transition is taking place right now. And so I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you what I think, or I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. But I would rather, on the other end of this, have something that I can guarantee and not have in the protection of the quote unquote American government
Mhm.
that's been abuseful for so long with their monetary policy.
Okay. So don't invest in US dollar right now.
I wouldn't. That's me.
I
But
wouldn't.
everybody's got their own opinion. I mean, I think the 10-year yield is something around 4.5% at this point.
Mhm.
And it's been hovering between 4.75 to 4.2, 4.3. The 10-year yield being the benchmark. Those treasuries, right now, I can stick my money in an American account and I can earn 4.5% on just a savings account. I don't need to even do anything else. So there's a lot. I mean, the financial things, a lot of it, everybody's got their own opinions and expertise. But I think you have to, in the political environment we're in right now, there is a lot of global wars taking place.
Right.
These global wars are 100% about finance, resource, and control. I don't know where this goes, man, but I would rather have an option that is in my possession and safer. But then I also realize there's a limit to how much gold and silver you can buy, right? So you've got to allocate into other things and, treasuries and equities. And I think all that has its place. For me personally, it's not where I'm putting my money.
All right.
So now that we're talking about stocks and market and all stuff, so I think you may have heard of DeepSeek.
Absolutely.
Right. And what happened to USA, $1 trillion wipeout. So what's your opinion about that?
Man, that's an interesting thing, because if you follow really all the details there, you had a couple of days before that announcement, Trump come out and announce the $500 billion Stargate investment, where he brought all the other contributors of AI, OpenAI, all these other people, and he announced this $500 billion investment into US AI infrastructure. And then it wasn't but a couple days later, this announcement came out. So I think that announcement was strategic in its timing, 100%. And I think we're watching chess. We're watching countries play chess with each other. And the old saying, man, all wars are bankers' wars. I think there's some truth to that right now.
Right. Wow. All wars are bankers' wars. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to use that.
Even if Trump came out and said that, it's $500 billion investment for all the AI companies, I think it's still a loss, because China had done it in a very cheap, China had done it for $5 million with DeepSeek.
Yeah.
So I think it's already a loss. If we came out and said $500 billion for the AI companies for the USA, I think so.
Yeah, and I'm still learning about the tech involved with DeepSeek. To my understanding, one of the things that it's claiming to do is that, for example, if you compare to OpenAI, right, there's something like 1.5 billion metric calculations that are used for every answer that generates.
Right.
But DeepSeek is using something like, I think, 50 million.
Yeah.
So for example, if you ask it a law question, it's not going to pull things that are related to history or math. It's just going to give you the answer for law. So I think what it's claiming to do is use less computing power, use less energy, which therefore has a direct attack against the NVIDIA chip, which contributes to, I think, the stock market issue we saw a couple of days in America, where NVIDIA lost, I think, what was it, $600 billion in one day?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Something.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, man. I mean, it's an exciting time to be alive, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just a month only in 2025.
Right.
A lot has happened.
A lot has happened within a month. Actually, because we touched base a little bit on finance, we touched base a little bit on politics. I'm actually really curious to know, what are your thoughts? Were you before the election, were you a Trump guy or a Biden guy?
I was definitely not a Biden guy. The reason I say that is because I don't think he was in control of anything. I don't think Biden was doing anything. I think it was somebody else. So so there's that part of that conversation.
There are things that he was doing, it was blowing my mind. Why is he he's forgetting to what he was going to say? What's happening?
Exactly.
He is going to he's on a podium, man. He's forgetting the next line. He's forgetting the guy he's going to introduce.
Exactly.
He went somewhere. I think it was either the I don't know. He went to one of the global events just a couple months before he stepped down or was out as the president. And he got off the podium and walked through the woods. Went just back through.
Yeah, that was a video.
Yeah, it blew my
Maybe
mind.
he was high.
What's going on with him? What's
I don't
going
know.
on with him? Yeah, I started. Okay, so I don't believe in rumors. Okay, I don't believe in what do you call it? Fantasy theories or something like that, right? But that made so much sense that this is not Trump. Sorry, this is not Biden, right? This is some other guy, probably with a plastic surgery or something, who's pretending to be him, because this guy is like, I don't want to use the word stupid, but hey,
Idiot, then sick.
Yeah, going back to your other part of the question though, like there are certain things that I like about Trump, and then there are certain things that concern me about Trump. And for example, $500 billion on an AI project.
Exactly.
That to me, I don't think that's even a wise use of the money. To your point, it doesn't need to be that much money. It shows the inefficiency and the what I would just call it's just a mismanagement. It's been a mismanagement of the American government with their finances for a long time, and this seems to be more of the same.
It literally showed FOMO for the whole country. It literally
for the whole country. For the whole country, goddamn. Yeah, very true. But coming back to JNM, so we have a couple of questions, right? So we noticed that you offer Bitcoin as payment method also.
Yeah.
Which sort of shows that you believe in cryptocurrencies. Have you ever had someone try to pay for a diamond with a Dogecoin or some other crazy cryptocurrency, or like do you?
No, I haven't had
Here
any
is a Dogecoin. I need a diamond necklace, please.
I actually, believe it or not, I own some Dogecoin personally. I have some.
Did you sell on time?
I didn't mean it that way.
I said, did you sell on time? Like, because it had spike, right?
Yeah.
So like, did you sell on time, or you're still holding it?
Yes and no. My position right now, I'm still holding, but I apply like going towards crypto as I do, maybe 40 or 50 trades a month sometimes. So I'm catching the ups and downs on both sides if I can. But the position I have right now, I'm still holding.
Okay. So if somebody pays you, what's the currency that you prefer to get money in if somebody pays in crypto?
Bitcoin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stable. Yeah, stable.
Well, it's just at this point, it's still the most widely recognized. And I think it's being looked at as like a brand, right? So people gravitate towards it. The bigger people that are starting to, integrate it or bring it into their payment solutions. Bitcoin is still the preferred, but of course there's, what is 10,000 other coins at this point?
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
So does it ever happen that you receive payment from someone in Bitcoin and suddenly Bitcoin drops?
Yeah.
That'd be crazy. Like my profit
It seems
is
to
gone.
happen all the time, actually.
Yeah. You get the money and the price dropped and you're like, what?
And now it's 9,000.
Imagine, bro, COVID.
Man,
was the
COVID,
time.
I really wanted to invest in Bitcoin. It was on, I think it was on $17,000, somewhere around 17,000. I was like, let's invest in this, but then I don't know why I didn't do it.
You chickened out, bro. You chickened out.
I chickened out with Bitcoin. I chickened out.
Do you hold any Bitcoins right now, Cory?
I do. Yeah, I have a little bit of Bitcoin.
Okay.
How much?
Nice. How much?
No, I can't. I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, I have a little bit.
I just curious.
Let's news.
Very cheap is when I bought it.
Wow.
Did you buy it? Did you buy it in COVID, or did you chicken out as well, just like him? How was the case?
No, so quick story. Believe it or not, my wife was pregnant with our daughter. And it was the afternoon of the day she gave birth to our daughter. I bought Bitcoin when it was at $1,800 a token. So this was about eight years ago. And that night we went on to the hospital and had the baby girl. So it was just a funny story because I can always remember like, okay, this was my entry point. And this is when I bought, because it was that day she was born.
$1,800. You're still holding that one, right?
So I've approached it two ways. I've had a hold position, which I'm not selling. I'm just riding out. And then I have a more of a short-term trading position that I like to play with. As I mentioned, the Doge that I have now, I'm holding on that play.
All right.
All right.
Nice.
So, Cory, I have another amazing question, and I've been really meaning to ask this for a long time. And I have asked this from different people. I want to know your opinion as well. That do you think that crypto system can eliminate banking system
someday?
I mean,
well, yes, I will say yes, I do, and I think you have to define what that means. And right now, the U.S. banking system is predominantly operating on a SWIFT digital system. It's not even digital, it's analog. It's built before digital, but it's referred to as a SWIFT banking system. And this is these Basel guidelines that I was referring to before, eventually blockchain distributed ledger will be replacing Swift completely. Now, does that mean crypto, like Bitcoin's going to replace the entire US banking system? I don't know all those details, but I will say that blockchain and tokenization will replace Swift completely eventually.
Eventually. Okay. All right. So I have another question actually. You mentioned that you 3D print the jewelries also, right? So and you also, because of the other business, you are creating VR experiences. You're basically living in the future at that point, right? So my question is, what's the most back to the future moment you've had combining traditional jewelry making with the new tech? Have you ever combined both of them together and built something crazy that somebody is like, hey, I want a TV which is bejeweled or something like that?
I mean, so I'm an 80s kid. I was born in the 80s, and the 80s in America was a very futuristic, forward-thinking time. You had all these movies like Back to the Future and all these different things that were always talking about technology and what would be going on in the future, right? So as I look at myself now and I see the things that we're doing, it a lot of times connects me with the things that I saw in my childhood, in movies or in shows and things. So that kind of answers your question. We've developed some really cool tech. We're working on an entire like digital environment that you can navigate and move throughout and interact with jewelry, 3D viewers, and all of that. So we're almost ready to launch that. I think it's going to launch in about 2 weeks.
It's like a metaverse. Is it a metaverse?
It's not, because there's no people in it. It's simply for product showcase.
So VR experience. Right.
So there's no interacting with humans or cartoons or avatars or nothing like that. It's just like you would walk into a professional store or a very high-end environment and you would go and look at different countertops and pieces of jewelry. It's set up in that kind of structure. So yeah, man, we're working on a lot of cool stuff like that. But, probably going back to your question is the 3D printing side of it. You can print all these little cool things that you're like, oh, this is kind of silly, but it's also really cool. And, it takes you back to your childhood and all these different stuff.
Well, what's the craziest thing that you've printed out of the 3D printer? Craziest thing.
Craziest?
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that. I mean, we did print a duplicate of the 2020 Tokyo Olympic medal. We had a client who lives not that far and they got silver. And so they didn't want to show everybody the medal. So they said, hey, can you make a duplicate? So we made a duplicate and printed it on the 3D printer. And that was cool. Very detailed to the T.
Right. Okay. Weirdly enough, if I had a 3D printer, I'll probably. Have you seen Big Bang Theory?
Yeah,
I'm getting a life-size version of me.
Okay.
I like that idea. It was crazy, right? In the Big Bang Theory, I would probably also get a good girlfriend for me. At least somebody should get a girl, right? So somebody should get some. So I'll definitely some action, right? Like what is going on in my life, man. But I'd probably do that. I'll probably create a hot girl, and I'll create a life-size version of me, and I'll put it here on my desk, and I'll stay happy with that. that is the child inside me, man.
This would be a 3D print of you? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like they did in Big Bang Theory. I'm just imagining that right now. Like they 3D printed out Howard and Raj, right? So just like that. Have you tried anything like that ever with the 3D printer? Created something legit crazy?
I mean, we've created like figurines and animals. We printed the other day for fun. We printed a sword, like an old medieval type of jousting sword and all that. We were playing with that and just seeing what kind of detail with the tip and the point that we achieved. It was fun. That was cool.
Yeah, that is men doing things. Let's remember there is a child inside all of us. Yeah. So that you give a man something that he can work with, he'll work with it, but he'll play with it as well. These are older tools. That is nice. That is
Absolutely.
nice.
Amazing.
So, you also mentioned that you create NFT certificates for jewelry, right? If you had to create an NFT for yourself, would it like, how does your NFT looks like? Do you have anything that you can show us right now?
Yeah.
You make out an NFT, right?
I'm doing this from home, so I'm only using my laptop. I don't have my screens connected. Otherwise, I'd be a little bit more prepared to screen share with you.
Right.
But yes, if you just go to jnmjewelry.com and then we have an NFT page, you should be able to find that in the footer, and then I think it's also in the menu as well.
Okay.
Basically, we approach NFTs a little bit differently. So typically NFTs in its natural definition are just digital, right? There's nothing physical about them. What we decided to do was attach a physical piece of jewelry to a digital piece of art. And by transferring ownership of the digital piece of art, that acts as the certificate of ownership for the piece of jewelry. So it's kind of a combination of both. And it's a unique twist because when I was, if you scroll down to the bottom, should be an NFT tab there. I think that's the easiest way to find it. Yeah, right there at the
bottom, information.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, so this is just a video and it talks about the product. And this particular product you're seeing here is a large aquamarine pendant. And so that's the digital representation of it. That's the actual physical piece. And then the item that's transferred on the blockchain is the digital art. Right. And so if you're familiar with NFTs, there's been a lot of scams associated with them and kind of people saying, what am I buying? I'm buying this digital piece of art I can take a picture of. So we wanted to take the concept and apply a physical item that has high value and is a collectible. And so that's what we've done here.
Oh, that's nice. This looks good.
This is really
beautiful.
Good.
You should be able to zoom in and stuff on that too. Get the full, there you go.
Oh, this is nice.
You see the quality of materials on that?
Oh, nice.
That is not easy to achieve. It still looks digital, but it looks very good. A lot of the things that we had been working with in the past made the jewelry look kind of like cartoonish, not real. And so the metal reflections and refractions of light off the stone is a challenge, but we developed this whole thing. That app you're seeing right there, we built that whole thing from scratch.
But
this is the NFT. Yeah.
So it's inside Canvas. Okay. All right. I'm just curious. I was a developer. I don't know if I told you, but I started as a developer, right? So I'm always curious to things like this. Nice.
Yeah. So our goal is to offer more NFTs. What you're seeing right here is the first one. It's an expensive product because it's a large item. But yeah, that's our idea with it. And again, man, forward thinking. How can we bring what is once old into the new? And I'm not aware of anybody else that's doing NFTs like that, where they're combining a digital piece of art with a physical item. And we even, went so far as bought some domains, NFTs for jewelry.com.
Oh, nice.
That's our domain. And we have several others that are pointing in that direction. So I think there may be something there for the future.
For sure. NFTs, when you say NFT, right? So does your NFT have any utility or is it like Dogecoin?
No, well, it's just our NFT is just a digital piece of art. And it only serves as the digital certification for the ownership of the physical piece of jewelry. So it serves no utility at all. It's ultimately just authenticity, aesthetics, and verification purposes.
Awesome. And you give this to everybody, or like if somebody asks for the NFT, then only then?
Well, that's an interesting question because we had considered doing it with every purchase, and I think we may end up there. We haven't wrapped our head around that protocol to make it easy yet.
Makes sense. Makes absolute sense. Like if it takes too long to do it, it might raise your costs, and that'll impact your business also, right?
Right. So if we can streamline it and make it a little easier, create some simple to follow protocols, then I think we could institute it for every purchase. But right now, we're not doing it for every purchase.
Nice. Hey, since you work in the jewelry business, right? My question is, what ring did you give to your wife? I want to know about that.
Okay, so that's a cool story too. So
And
I
how
told
much did you spend on it? I want to hear
Oh, I
that.
can't say that because she might listen.
That-
She might listen to this, and it's a joke that we have because she doesn't know what I spent. But
Oh, nice. Was it a drill cut?
no, so I'll a drill cut. No, I'll tell you the funny story. We after that initial trip to Israel, we ended up going back many times with the business, and so as I got closer to proposing, I was in Israel with her.
Mhm.
And so we were at the factory in Tel Aviv, and I just let her pick out whatever ring she wanted. And
Mhm.
so that's how she knew what ring she was getting. And then I did the proposal at a later time, at a later date.
Okay. So
She
very-
picked it out, man. She picked her own ring.
okay. So you were confident enough that, hey, I'll take you to a jewelry store, whatever you want to purchase. I have $50 million in the bank.
Well, this was the
What
factory.
can you buy at that point? What can you buy?
I can buy the whole jewelry shop.
Yeah, you know what? Just buy the entire shop. It's fine.
No, it wasn't like that. This was the family factory in Israel.
Ah, okay.
You know, so we were in the ground level of the business, and she had already been involved in what was going on. So I wanted to make sure she got something that she liked. But yeah, she picked it out, and then I proposed at a later day and a later time.
Okay. How did you propose, though?
I proposed at the top of a restaurant in Tel Aviv, and
Okay.
the restaurant is called 2C.
Mhm.
It's on the top floor. It's like 35 floors, and you just look out towards the Mediterranean
Okay.
over the Tel Aviv. So I did the proposal there at dinner.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Nice. So when she saw the ring, what did she say? No?
She already knew. I mean,
Okay.
she knew, right? I mean, I think I told you in our pre-call,
Yeah.
we dated for 5 years
Yeah.
before we got married. So there was no surprise that we were going to be getting married. I mean, we have talked about it many times.
Mhm.
So, you know, there's no way that I could have surprised her, but I like the fact that she was able to pick it out herself. And we did the whole purchase and proposal in Israel, which is where her family's from. So it was special for her. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. As long as that is the case, she's happy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hard to make a girl happy. So if you got that covered.
It's that women are different whole conversation, man.
Yeah, God, yes. I can relate. But yeah, hey, last question that I have on my end, then guys, please, if you have any other questions. But my last question is, if your life was a movie, which movie would it be? Which movie do you relate the most with?
My younger years or my current years? Which are we talking about here? We need to talk about childhood or now?
Which one was the craziest?
Well, my childhood was pretty crazy. I had a a lot of just different things that went on.
Okay.
Nothing really terrible. Just a lot of things. We moved a lot. I went to a lot of different schools, a lot of different stuff like that. Encino Man with what is the guy? Brandon Fraser. It's one of Brandon Fraser's original movies. They find a caveman in the backyard. They're digging for a pool. It's a really funny movie.
What's the name of the movie? See No Man, right?
Encino, like Encino, California, but Encino Man.
Okay,
Encino, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I think I'm writing the wrong.
Yeah.
Encino.
I think this
Encino Man.
Man with curly hairs.
Okay.
It's a really funny movie. My childhood reminds me a lot of just I don't know. It's just funny, man. I can relate to that a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which scene do you relate the most with? Encino Man. Okay.
Just probably the silly stuff that they did in school. You know,
Okay.
they were kind of characters and cracking up, and a lot of the funny kind of noises and funny languages and stuff. It's a completely silly movie. It's just it reminds you of being a silly kid in junior high or high school. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Just like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. I feel like it's closer to Dumb and Dumber, right?
Yeah, it kind
Encino Man.
of. Yeah, it's not as dumb as Dumb and Dumber, but it's
Okay. Nice. All right. That's all the questions from me. Hamid, Yash, anything?
I think we have covered it all.
Okay, awesome. So we did it for 1 hour and we covered everything up. Anything, Cory, anything that you'd like to share with us, with our viewers also? Just, and I want us to focus on successful business, because you created a successful business, right? We always ask this from all our podcast guests. Which lesson would you give to the audience, people who want to start a business? What is your life lesson?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think it's oftentimes overcomplicated with all the different options and technologies and resources that we have. When people start a business, they think, well, I got to do this and I got to do that and I got to do this. And it becomes an overwhelming amount of things that you feel like you need to do. And in reality, if you want to be successful, you have to stick with the core basics. And the core basics are: treat people the way you would want to be treated. Do what you say you're going to do. When you shake someone's hand or you look them in the eye, make that commitment, follow through on that commitment, and try to do good work and honest work. And I think if you will focus on those basic things, then all the other stuff will fall into place.
Yeah, basically cut the crap, come down to basics. Let's do it. Cool.
Yeah. Humanize it, simplify it. And it really boils down to, in my opinion, those core basic principles.
Amazing. Awesome. So it was amazing discussing all of this with you, Cory. It was you were an absolutely amazing guest. I believe all of us would agree that it was very informative. It was
100%.
very enjoyable at the same time. So
Yes.
loved you as a guest. We'd love to invite you again in the future. Yeah. And really appreciate you joining this podcast with us.
I appreciate it. And I look forward to future opportunities talking with you guys.
100%.
Awesome. 100%.